Hello and good morning. This is the Breville dual boiler, model BES920BSS. This is actually the latest version of the Breville dual boiler. It's the one with the new boiler design, so 2023 plus. It's basically a barely used unit. This one literally has one on the cup counter, so it's only been used for a couple days at max. And as you saw in the photos, it's in very, very good condition. It does have some very fine scratches, I think, from those couple days. It's got one here, one here, one here, one here, and a tiny, tiny sort of indentation right here. I think that's just from transport. Just like a half a centimeter wide nick, basically. Otherwise, it's basically like brand new. Comes with most of the accessories. Brand new water filter, cleaning tabs and disc, and the single and double baskets, and of course the portafilter, which I'll bring in a second. I'm just going to be using my own portafilter here. I'd like to keep the original accessories as clean as possible in the box, so I'm just going to be using my own grinder. I'm going to be using my own portafilter, and I'm going to be using my own milk jug as well. Okay, I've got my cup here. I've got my portafilter. I'm going to lock it in. See, the machine even still has the screen sticker. Hasn't been removed yet. I'm going to be doing a warm-up shot. So this machine typically takes about 4 to 5 minutes to turn on. And that is for the boiler to reach full temperature and the steam boiler to reach full temperature. But you can always warm up the machine a little bit more. I mean, by the 5-minute mark, it will be a little bit warm. It does have a heated group head, which gets quite warm actually, I'll be honest, by 5 minutes, but it can get even hotter if you wait about 10 or 15 minutes. So you can either keep the machine on for 10 or 15 minutes. The top plate will be very warm. The portafilter will be piping hot actually, because this block of metal is heated as well as the boiler sitting on top of it. Or if you're in a hurry like myself, you can run a blank shot. That's going to warm up your portafilter and your cup super quickly. It just runs for about 20 or 25 seconds. It also acts like a bit of a flush cycle. Now there's a little bit of coffee residue in my portafilter. That's why it's a little bit brown. Get rid of that. Just move this out of the way. There we go. Awesome. Once you've done about 15, 20, 25 seconds of warm water, it should be more than enough to keep your cup warm. You'll put that away. Next is, you want to take out the portafilter and you want to dry it. I'm just going to grab my tissue, dry this basket. Then I'm going to use my other machine, this Breville Oracle, to grind for me. I'm not going to talk to you too much about grind size, but this is just the basics of it. If you're getting your own grinder or even using pressurized baskets, your grind size will dictate how fast your coffee will flow. I'm just going to get rid of this old coffee and start with new coffee. Yeah, so if you've got a really large grind size, your coffee will flow very quickly, and by the end of the shot, you'll get a lot of coffee in your cup. If your grind size is too small, your flow rate will be very slow. Your coffee will flow slowly, if at all, and in the end, your shot will be very small. So we want that perfect grind size, so that you don't get too much or too little coffee. And each machine will be different, each grinder will be different, so you just have to do a bit of trial and error. probably just use the included tamper to tell you that the correct grind size for these machines is about 18 to 22 grams. It will vary a little bit, but basically you want your tamper to sit flat on the coffee, not wonky at an angle, and you want the silver part on the tamper to disappear. Now it's mostly disappearing now, just a little bit of it. But yeah, if I were to measure this is about 22, 23 grams. What I might do is, I've got this little tool. There we go. Now that should be better. I've just trimmed the top layer. That's a bit better. So the silver part fully disappears when you tamp. And yeah, in other words, the depth of the coffee from the edge is about this much. If you want to look at it. Make sure you use good beans. If you use cheaper beans or really stale beans, your coffee will not have crema, it'll taste sour, and it won't make a good day. Alright. And if you like to add any sugar or sweeteners, add them now before your espresso shot is brewed. That way your the flavors will mix nicely with the coffee, rather than sit at the bottom later on. We've got a little hot water tap. The hot water tap gives you clean hot water straight from the boiler, bypasses the group head. So if you've got a dirty group head you don't want to clean, you don't want coffee grounds in your hot water, that's something you can do. And if you want to convert your coffee making into a hobby, I highly recommend you get a scale. It'll actually help you make better coffees, and it will tell you the inputs and outputs accurately. So my inputs I usually measure at 22 grams from this machine, the coffee grounds I mean, and the output into the cup we will measure now actually into the cup. We can just reset the scale with the cup on it, and it'll 0. Then we make the shot and then measure the after. So mix this sugar in. And just to remind you, this machine is a dew boiler. You can always brew and steam at the same time. You've got 2 pumps, 2 boilers. That's the beauty of this machine. Right, resetting my scale and then brewing the shot. Now, it's been about 3 days since I used this machine, so the grind size may be a little bit off. I make coffee with a different machine every time, depending on which machine I'm selling that day. But yeah, let's do the double shot. In fact, let's reset the machine to the factory settings. I can't remember if the previous owners... so reset. Yeah, I can't remember if the previous owners played with the button lengths, and I don't want us to discover that in this video. So let's just go to standard 30 seconds for the double shot. So the coffee started pouring at about 11 seconds. Looks pretty good. Looks like it's symmetrical from both spouts. Looks like it's flowing at a decent rate. It's at 25 seconds now. I'll stop it now. 26 seconds into the shot. We may benefit from reducing the grind size a little bit. So now we've got about 40 to 45 grams in 30 seconds. I forgot to mention, espresso is usually a 2-to-1 ratio. So that means for every gram you put in, you want 2 grams out in 30 seconds, give or take. Or if you're doing by a fixed amount of time, you want the output to be between 40 to 50, because double of 22 is 44. So yeah, 40, 38, 50 is fine. This is 36 grams. I stand corrected. So if I've let it run for another 4 seconds, it would have probably been in the 40s, and that would have been the perfect shot. So I think I've pulled the trigger too soon. Let me add a little bit more caffeine to my coffee, so I can just hold the button. Oops. Awesome, that's 46. Now it's not recommended to split your shot into two, because after the shot stops, you've got the depressurization and it disrupts the coffee surface. But if you're adding a couple more grams, it's fine, or a few more grams. So I would say that's pretty good. It probably tastes really good, especially if you add sugar or milk. You don't have to be super accurate with your brewing if you're adding sugar or milk, or both. Yeah, that's all done. Take that out. Give it a good flush. Just knock into your knockbox and give it a flush. I like to do this not in the sink, but rather in here. So just press the single button, brew for about 3 or 4 seconds. That's gonna clean your shower screen and your portafilter at once. And if you're feeling extra nice to your machine, you can grab a clean tissue and wipe the grip seal and the shower screen again, because even after you do the flush, there's a little bit of coffee ground retained in there, and that's been my experience at least. So it doesn't hurt to do that extra wipe. And keep your machine nice and dry so you don't get any spotting, or you don't ruin that stainless steel finish, which looks beautiful as is, being as new. Cool, that's the espresso shot. Next we'll be steaming some milk. I'm just going to get my milk jug. It's recommended that you use cold milk, because cold milk will allow you more time to texture and add air to your milk. So it'll be easier to make latte art, or a good latte consistency at least, with colder milk. I'm using cow's milk, full cream. I'm going to fill the jug about halfway, or just below this spout curve, where the spout curves. The technique, it's really hard to translate on video, but the basics is, this one is really powerful. It makes really good milk if you know how to use it. I would argue that this is going to make the best milk texturing out of any Breville machine, even the Oracles and the Barista Touch and the Barista Express and everything. So I like to purge it in the beginning just to get rid of any condensation. We don't want that old water, old steam into our milk. Give it a purge, and then the milk jug you want to position sort of at an angle, so like this instead of this, so at an angle, and keep the tip close to the surface of the milk, so not too deep into the milk, just close to the surface, and also close to the edge of the jug, so that sort of spins the milk in a vortex fashion, and also the depth or how long you stay close to the surface will dictate how much air, how much foam you get into your final result. So if I keep the wand very deep into the jug and spinning the milk rather than aerating it, it'll be very flat. And on the other hand, if I keep it very close to the surface of the milk the whole time, I'll get too much foam, my milk will be too bubbly, unpleasant. So if I want that smooth, velvety texture, we should balance that. So maybe 5 seconds close to the surface and then go deeper after that. It's easier to do in person and practice rather than listening to a video, but these are just the guidelines that I'd like to listen to. I like to tell people really before learning milk or teaching them milk texturing. Cool. So about 10 seconds of aerating the milk close to the surface, and then after that raising the jug so it's deeper into the milk rather than at the top. As you heard, the noise is really different, quite distinct when it's aerating and adding that foam, and when it's just like a hissing noise, and then when you raise the jug, it's much quieter. And then when it's too hot to the touch, I'm going to turn it off. Typically that's about 60 to 65 degrees. There we go, that's about 60 degrees. My heat tolerance is not very good, that's why I usually stop at 60, but I've seen people stop at 65 if they want a hotter drink. Very, very smooth. I'm going to get a wet towel and wipe my group head. Sorry, wipe my wand. Obviously it's made of metal that gets really hot with contact with steam. Yeah, it will be really difficult to clean if you don't clean it straight away. It'll just harden and dry out. It'll be a pain to clean tomorrow. So do it today. Save yourself some hassle. And then you want to purge. It's going to spit some milk. So that purging will clean the holes, these 3 holes from any milk inside of them. And yeah, that will prevent you from having a blocked wand in the next day. That's all done. That's a latte on the Breville dual boiler. Very, very thick milk. I should actually call this a cappuccino and not a latte. I haven't made a video on one of these bad boys for a while. So I actually stayed for about 10 seconds close to the surface, which was too much for a latte. So we've got very thick foam, I can already tell. You want to spin the jug around to mix up the milk. And then if you've got any big air bubbles, just knock it a few times to break those up. And then keep doing this process until you've got a smooth texture on top. Almost like wet paint, people say. Which it does look like that, I'll be honest. And then you want to pour that. Oh. I almost made it hot and then I stuffed it up. But if you've got any barista training at all, you'll find it super easy to make cafe quality coffees, if not better, I would say. That looks delicious. I will show you that in a second. See, I almost started with doing it hot and then something happened over there. But that's the coffee that I made. Hope you can make even better coffees. Hope you can enjoy this machine to the fullest. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate. And I will see you soon. Cheers.